At this moment, Su Qingying, wearing a white dress, stepped out from the crowd. Her eyes were full of astonishment. "Shan'an, do you have to be so ruthless?" I turned my head to look at this face of hers, which I had deeply loved for 10 years. But now, there wasn't a single ripple in my heart. "Miss Su, business is war. When Zhao Hui was suppressing me back then, you didn't think he was being ruthless." Su Qingying's lips moved, but she couldn't say a word. I ignored them. And under everyone's gaze, I walked into the banquet hall, towards the VIP area deeper inside. "Stop barking like a mad dog. You're no longer worthy of being my opponent now." I walked towards Mr. Li, the son of Hong Kong's richest man, and gently clinked glasses with him. Zhao Hui collapsed to the ground. The surrounding chatter submerged him like a tide. In the lounge, it was so quiet you could only hear the clinking of ice cubes against the glass. Mr. Li sat opposite me, his eyes filled with admiration. Our talk went very smoothly. Wang Chao Capital will cooperate with the Li Group to develop a new energy project. I knew that once I took this step, I would be completely stable. "Mr. Chen, the younger generation is truly formidable. The Zhao family's piece of the pie, you swallowed it perfectly." "I was just going with the flow, Mr. Li. You flatter me." After seeing Mr. Li off, I was about to leave the lounge when the door was pushed open again. Su Qingying stood at the door. She no longer had the cold expression from the banquet hall. In her eyes was a weariness and regret I had never seen before. "Chen-an, can we talk for a moment? Not about business, just talking." I sat back down on the sofa and poured myself a glass of water. In my previous life, if I had heard this tone from her, I would probably have died of a broken heart. But now, I just find it a waste of time. "Miss Su, I have a multinational conference call this afternoon. You only have 3 minutes. You never used to call me that. That 10 million. My father just wanted to test you. He didn't think he would drive you away." Hearing this, I almost burst out laughing. "A test? Throwing 10 million in my face, watching me get thrown out by bodyguards. You call that a test? If you're here to say this nonsense, then you can leave. Miss Su, you deserve it. Thanks for that 10 million. He made me realize that dignity is indeed more valuable than love." Su Qingying froze on the spot. Tears welled up in her eyes. I stood up, grabbed my coat, and walked straight past her. As I passed by, I didn't even turn my head, not even glancing at her. "Miss Su, let's not bring up matters of the heart again in the future. Between us, there's only business left." I walked out of the lounge, the sunlight shining on me, feeling unusually warm. I discovered that after letting go of that obsession, even the air became fresher. On the 3rd day after returning to Modu, I received a call from Su Zhengguo. His voice no longer held the authority it had half a month ago, but carried an unconcealable anxiety. I sat in my office on the top floor of Wangchao Capital, looking down at the river view of the Bund, and casually pressed the speakerphone button. "Chen-an, what on earth are you trying to do? You stole the Zhao family's project, and now you're maliciously acquiring the Su Group's scattered shares. Uncle Su, you taught me that in the business world there are only interests. I find the Su Group's stocks to be a very valuable investment. Is there a problem with that?" The sound of shattering glass came from the other end of the line. Clearly, this Chairman Su was not just slightly angry. In my past life, he treated me like dirt, thinking I would never be able to hold my head up high. But now, his life is in my hands. "You're taking revenge. You want to destroy the Su family because of Qingying. You're overestimating Miss Su." "Revenge? No. I'm just making a profitable business deal." I hung up the phone and directly added his number to the blacklist. I watched the stock prices constantly jumping on the computer screen, feeling unusually calm inside. The Su Group has looked glamorous these past few years, but it's rotten on the inside. The internal audits were already full of loopholes. I just need to give it a little push, and this empire will crumble to dust. "President Chen, Miss Su Qingying is downstairs saying she insists on seeing you." I rubbed the Patek Philippe on my wrist, the corners of my mouth curving into a smirk. Half a month ago, I didn't even have the right to step through the Su family's main gate. Half a month later, the great miss of the Su family has to wait miserably outside my office door. Let her wait. Wait until I'm done reading this report. I lifted my coffee cup for a sip, the bitter taste spreading on my tongue that made me feel unprecedentedly fortunate. I want to make Su Zhengguo understand what kind of consequences the 10 million he threw out back then has ultimately bought him. 2 hours later, Su Qingying finally walked into my office. She looked much more haggard. Her usual exquisite makeup couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes. She was tightly clutching a folder. It was the Su Group's last distress signal. "Chen-an, consider it as me begging you, please stop. My father's health isn't good. If the Su Group collapses, he won't be able to take it." I swiveled my chair around, looking at this woman who was once so out of reach. In my previous life, to protect her completely, I was killed in a dark alley, yet she didn't even attend my funeral. How ironic her plea sounds now. "Miss Su, when you beg someone, you should have the attitude of someone begging. I've seen the restructuring agreement in your hand. I'm not interested." "Then what do you want?" "As long as we can save the Su Group, they'll agree to any condition." I stood up and walked in front of her. She subconsciously took a step back, a flicker of fear in her eyes. I pointed to the folder in her hand, then snatched it and threw it into the shredder. I want 51% of the SU Group's controlling shares, and Su Jiangguo must publicly apologize to me. Impossible. My father will never agree to this condition. I sat back down behind my desk and lit a cigar. Through the swirling smoke my gaze turned cold and sharp. Then there's nothing more to say. Miss Su, before the market closes tomorrow, I will complete the final acquisition. By then, the Su family won't just lose their company, but will also be saddled with a huge debt. Su Qingying slumped into the chair, her spirit shattered. She looked at me, as if looking at a demon. But I knew I was just taking back the justice that belonged to me. Get out. Don't interrupt my money-making. Su Qingying staggered out of the office. I watched her retreating back, and the last bit of pity in my heart completely vanished. This game has just begun. The Su family is just the first stepping stone for my business empire. I sat in the car, watching the debt collectors gather below the Su Group building. Su Jiangguo must be hiding in his office right now, frantically calling his so-called old brothers. In my past life, these people slapped their chests at the dinner table, promising to look after me. You were struggling to make ends meet back then. I was the one who gave you a hand. Now I want the scattered shares in your hands, and you're talking to me about market price. I heard the roar from the listening device, and a cold smile formed on my lips. Su Jiangguo still doesn't understand. In this circle, there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests, and I've already offered Lao Li triple the price. If Chairman Su refuses to apologize, then let's make this fire burn a little brighter. I hung up the phone and signaled my secretary to begin phase 2 of the plan. In less than 10 minutes, news that the SU Group was suspected of financial fraud was on the front page of all major financial news sites. This is one of the big gifts I prepared long ago. Every single piece of data was a precise strike at the SU Group's fate. Impossible. Only high-level insiders would know about these books. Chenan, how on earth did you get them? I looked at the tightly shut window on the top floor of the building, as if I could see the desperate expression on Su Jiangguo's face. In my previous life, to help him cover up these loopholes, I worked overtime day and night, even resorting to taking out high-interest loans. This life, this data has become his ticket to hell. Uncle Su, this is just the beginning. The stock price immediately hit its limit down. The market value of the Su Group evaporated by billions in just a short hour. I knew Su Jiangguo's final psychological defense had crumbled. In this dog-eat-dog world, he no longer has any room to bargain. At dusk, a heavy rain fell over Modu. I walked out of the building holding an umbrella, and immediately saw Su Qingying standing in the rain. She wasn't holding an umbrella, completely soaked. Her once proud spine now seemed a little stooped. Seeing me appear, she immediately rushed forward, but was stopped a few steps away by my bodyguards. Chenan, I beg you to meet my father. He had a heart attack and was hospitalized. He wants to apologize to you in person. I paused through the curtain of rain, looking at her. Rain streamed down her cheeks, making it impossible to tell if it was tears or rain. In my past life, on a rainy night just like this one, I ran all over half the city to buy her a piece of cake she had casually mentioned. I ran all over half the city, only to be met with her words, "It's too sweet, throw it away." An apology? If it were useful, then what would be the point of the police? Miss Su, go home. Stop putting on a tragic play here. You weren't like this before. Before, you would be heartbroken all day even if I just caught a cold. Why have you become so cold-blooded now? Because the Chenin who felt heartbroken for you has already died once in that dark alley. In my eyes now, there is only profit and loss. I walked around her, heading towards the Rolls-Royce parked by the road. Su Qingying wailed desperately behind me, but my heart remained unmoved. In my eyes, this kind of belated affection is cheaper than dirt. As long as you're willing to spare the Su family, they'll agree to anything, even marriage. Miss Su, your current worth doesn't even qualify you to be a receptionist at my Wangchao capital. The car door closed, shutting out the wind, rain, and cries from outside. I watched the white figure grow smaller and smaller in the rearview mirror, and poured myself a glass of red wine. This round, I won completely. The Su Group's shareholder meeting was held on schedule. I pushed open the heavy wooden doors, and the once noisy meeting room instantly fell silent. I walked straight to the chairman's seat that symbolized power. That place used to belong to Su Jiangguo, but now, it's mine. President Chen, you see, we've all signed the transfer agreements for the shares in our hands. In the future, we'll be counting on you to lead the Su Group. These old foxes change faces faster than they flip pages in a book. Yesterday, they were helping Su Jiangguo strategize. Today, they can't wait to pledge allegiance to the new master. I flipped open the document in front of me and scanned everyone sitting there. From today onwards, this place will no longer be called the Su Group, but will be renamed Wangchao Technology. All direct relatives of the Su family must leave the company within 1 hour. As soon as the words left my mouth, a commotion arose from a corner of the meeting room. Su Yue rushed in, his face flushed, clearly unable to accept this reality. Chen, on what grounds are you kicking me out? This company belongs to my family. You're just a bastard who got lucky. Didn't you hear what I just said? The bodyguards quickly moved forward and dragged Su Yue out like a little chick. His curses echoed in the hallway, but not a single shareholder dared to speak up for him. I turned my head to look at Su Qingying, who was sitting in the last row. Her head was bowed, her hands clasped tightly together. Miss Su, for old time's sake, I'll leave you a house. Move your father there, at least you won't have to live on the streets. Su Qingying slowly raised her head, her eyes as vacant as a puppet's. She stood up and left the meeting room without a word. I knew her last bit of pride had been completely crushed by me here today. Standing on the rooftop, the entire night view of the Huangpu River came into sight. But I knew this was just a foundation stone for my business empire. The real challenge has just begun. Brother Chen, you handled the Su family's matter so cleanly, but the chip project land you've been eyeing recently? I'm afraid it won't be easy to get. Mr. Li, have you heard something? Mr. Li pointed to a table not far away, where a woman was sitting, her gaze sharp, like an unsheathed sword. She is Shen Ruoxi, also the overlord of the artificial intelligence field for the next 10 years. The Shen family has also set their sights on that project. Shen Ruoxi, this woman is nicknamed the Red-Haired Witch. Her methods are a bit more ruthless than you can imagine. Good, opponents who are too weak aren't any fun to play against. As if sensing my gaze, Shen Ruoxi turned and raised her glass towards me. Her smile carried a sense of scrutiny and provocation. In my past life, the Shen family only entered the Modu market 3 years later. I didn't expect that because of my rebirth, the butterfly effect has caused this formidable opponent to appear earlier. Shen Ruoxi. In my past life, when you were calling the shots in the business world, I was still a driver for Su Qingying. In this life, I want to see who the real winner is. I responded with a polite smile, then turned and left. I need to readjust my business plan. The appearance of the Shen family is a variable, but for me, it's an even bigger opportunity. If I can swallow the Shen family's territory in the south, my Wangchao capital will be unrivaled. After completing the handover procedures, some impulse made me drive back to the slum where I used to live. The place was still dark and damp, the air filled with the smell of cheap cigarettes and garbage. I saw a familiar figure, struggling to carry a cardboard box. It was Su Qingying. Didn't expect this, did you? I ended up in the place where you used to live. Is this the revenge you wanted? She leaned against a mottled wall, holding a cheap box of instant noodles. The great miss who once wouldn't step into any restaurant that wasn't top tier, now has to bargain with the landlord over 100 yuan in rent. I never thought of taking revenge on you. I only took back what belonged to me. As for how you live, it has nothing to do with me. Chenin, if I hadn't taken that check back then, if you hadn't been reborn, would you have loved me for a lifetime? Hearing this question, I was stunned for a moment and burst out laughing. This question troubled me for a long time in my past life, but at this moment, it seemed so bland and powerless. There are no ifs, Miss Su. One can't keep living in the past. I took a wad of cash out of my pocket and placed it on the cardboard box next to her. This isn't pity, but a complete severance. This is the last time I'll help you. Don't let me see you again. I turned and walked quickly towards the luxury car parked at the end of the alley. Su Qingying's sobbing came from behind, echoing in the narrow alley. I started the engine and drove towards the brightly lit city center without looking back. Outside the floor-to-ceiling window, the clouds over Modu hung heavy. Shen Ruoxi sat across from me. She wasn't wearing her signature black suit, but a dark purple cheongsam instead. She looked gentle, but the aggression in her eyes hadn't diminished at all. I lowered my head and fiddled with the tea set. Boiling water poured into the pot, white steam rising. President Chen, I heard that for that chip project, you completely trampled the Su family underfoot. President Chen, your news travels fast. It's just a normal business replacement. I wouldn't call it trampling. I poured a cup of tea and pushed it in front of her. In my past life, Shen Ruoxi was famous for her ruthlessness in the business world. She was best at using information asymmetry to corner her opponents. Too bad today she's facing someone with 10 years of foresight. That project, the Shen family is determined to have it. Name your price, withdraw from the bidding. President Shen, do you think I'm short on money? She was stunned for a moment, clearly not expecting me to refuse so decisively. She has investigated my background. In her files, I am probably still the poor kid who would sell his dignity for a 10 million yuan check.